The door slammed shut with a finality that echoed through the empty house, but Faith couldn't move, her hands trembling as she clutched the old cassette tape like a lifeline. "You think you can bury me forever, Eliza?" the voice on the recording hissed, a ghost from the past rising to accuse the living. In that moment, the walls of their picture-perfect American life cracked wide open, revealing secrets that would either destroy them or set them free. Faith Thompson stared out the rain-streaked window of her Brooklyn apartment, the city lights blurring into a kaleidoscope of memories she could never quite grasp. It was one of those autumn evenings in New York where the chill seeped through the cracks, mirroring the cold void she'd carried since childhood. At 28, Faith had built a life as a freelance journalist, chasing stories of injustice and hidden truths. But her own story remained a locked box, buried under layers of denial and half-remembered whispers. Her mother Laura had died when Faith was just 10, in a car accident on a foggy highway outside Chicago. That's what everyone said, simple, tragic, unavoidable. But Faith always sensed there was more. A shadow lurking behind the family photos where Laura's smile seemed too bright, too defiant. Eliza, her father's new wife who stepped in barely a year after the funeral, had made sure of that. "We don't dwell on the past, dear," Eliza would say with that saccharine southern drawl she'd picked up from her Atlanta roots, even though she'd lived in the Midwest for decades. Eliza, with her perfectly coiffed hair and church-going piety, had systematically erased Laura from their lives. Photos vanished from albums, Laura's favorite books donated to charity, even her handmade quilts folded away in attic boxes labeled old junk. Faith's father, Robert, a stoic engineer from Illinois, went along with it, too grief-stricken or perhaps too complicit to fight back. He remarried Eliza quickly, seeking stability for his daughter, but in doing so, he handed over the reins of their family narrative. Eliza, who volunteered at the local community center and baked pies for every neighborhood potluck, projected an image of wholesome American motherhood. But beneath it, Faith felt the undercurrent of judgment, especially as she grew older and realized her own attractions leaned toward women. "God has a plan for everyone," Eliza would preach during family dinners, her eyes lingering on Faith a beat too long, as if sensing the unspoken. It wasn't until Faith moved to New York for college that she began to unpack the fragments. She dated sporadically, but relationships fizzled under the weight of her unresolved past. Then came Alex, a vibrant graphic designer from San Francisco, whom Faith met at a pride event in Greenwich Village. Alex, with her curly auburn hair and infectious laugh, was everything Faith admired. Open, unapologetic, fiercely loving. Their first date was at a cozy Italian spot in Little Italy, where over pasta and wine, Alex shared stories of her own coming out, the support from her family contrasting sharply with Faith's silence. "You're holding back," Alex said one night, months into their relationship, as they lay tangled in sheets in Faith's tiny apartment. The city hummed below, a constant reminder of life's pulse. "Tell me about your mom. I see her in you, the way you fight for underdogs in your articles." Faith hesitated, her heart pounding. "I don't remember much, Eliza." She made sure we moved on. But that night, for the first time, Faith voiced the nagging doubt. Why had Eliza been so adamant about erasing Laura? Was it jealousy or something deeper? The turning point came during a Thanksgiving visit back to the family home in suburban Chicago. The air was thick with tension as Eliza served turkey with all the trimmings, her smile strained. Robert, now retired, sat quietly nursing a beer. Faith had brought Alex, introducing her as "my girlfriend," the words hanging like a challenge. Eliza's fork clattered against her plate. "Faith, honey, we love you, but this lifestyle, it's not what your mother would have wanted." The words ignited a fire. "What do you know about what Mom wanted?" Faith snapped, her voice rising. Alex squeezed her hand under the table, a silent anchor. Later, as the house slept, Faith crept to the attic, driven by an impulse she couldn't ignore. Dust motes danced in the flashlight beam as she rummaged through boxes. There, buried under old clothes, was a small wooden chest with Laura's initials carved into the lid. Inside, letters, photos, and a dusty cassette tape labeled "For Faith, when you're ready." Her hand shook as she slipped it into an old player she'd found. Laura's voice filled the air, warm and resolute, like a hug from beyond. "My darling Faith, if you're listening, it means I've gone, and Eliza has probably tried to wipe me away. But know this. I loved a woman named Sarah before your father. We were soulmates, but society and Eliza's bigotry tore us apart. Faith's world tilted. Her mother had been lesbian, and Eliza knew? The recording continued, detailing how Eliza, a family friend, had discovered Laura's affair and threatened to expose her unless she ended it. Laura chose her family, but the guilt haunted her until the end. Don't let her erase us, Faith. Live your truth. Tears streamed down Faith's face as the tape ended. Downstairs, the house stirred footsteps. Eliza appeared at the attic door, her face pale. What have you done? The confrontation exploded like a storm. Faith played the tape for her father, who listened in stunned silence. You knew. Faith demanded of Eliza. You erased her because she loved a woman? Eliza crumpled, her facade cracking. I thought I was protecting you. In our community, that kind of thing. It ruins lives. Robert's voice was quiet but firm. You ruined ours by lying. As dawn broke, Faith felt a mix of rage and pity. Alex held her as they drove back to New York, the recording a talisman of truth. But this was just the beginning. The shockwaves would ripple, forcing reckonings and perhaps redemptions. Back in Brooklyn, the recording became Faith's obsession. She listened to it repeatedly, Laura's voice weaving through her days like a thread pulling at loose ends. Sarah was my everything, Laura confessed on the tape. We met in college in the 80s when being out meant risking everything. Eliza found our letters and used them to blackmail me into marrying your father. I loved him too in my way, but Sarah, she was my heart. Faith's investigations deepened. Using her journalistic skills, she tracked down Sarah, now living in Seattle as a retired teacher. A phone call later, they arranged to meet. Your mother was the love of my life, Sarah said over coffee in a bustling cafe overlooking Puget Sound. Her eyes, kind and weathered, filled with tears. Eliza's interference destroyed us, but Laura left that tape for you, to break the cycle. Meanwhile, Alex supported Faith through the emotional whirlwind, their relationship blossoming amid the chaos. Walks in Central Park turned into deep conversations about identity and forgiveness. You're not alone in this, Alex whispered one evening as they watched the sunset from the Brooklyn Bridge, the city skyline a testament to resilience. Their kisses were tender, charged with the promise of a future unburdened by secrets. But drama brewed back home. Eliza, cornered by the truth, lashed out in subtle ways, spreading rumors in their tight-knit community about Faith's choices, painting her as the villain. Robert, torn between loyalty and regret, began questioning his marriage. I should have protected Laura's memory, he admitted in a tearful call to Faith. Eliza convinced me it was for the best. The conflict escalated at a family reunion in Chicago. Relatives gathered in the backyard, American flags fluttering in the breeze, barbecues sizzling. Faith arrived with Alex, the tape in her bag like a weapon. Whispers followed them. Eliza had primed the pump. How could Laura do that to Robert? An aunt murmured. Faith couldn't stay silent. During dessert, she stood, her voice steady. Mom didn't betray anyone. She loved deeply, and Eliza hid it because of her own fears. She played snippets of the recording, the gathering falling silent as Laura's words exposed the erasure. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Eliza fled inside, sobbing. Later, in the kitchen, she confronted Faith. You think you're so righteous? I loved your father, but Laura's secret could have ruined us all. In the Midwest back then, it wasn't accepted. That's no excuse for erasing her, Faith retorted, her anger laced with empathy. You hurt everyone, including yourself. As night fell, Robert pulled Faith aside. I'm filing for divorce. I can't live with the lies anymore. It was a bittersweet victory. The family fracturing but truths emerging like spring after winter. Faith returned to New York transformed, her bond with Alex strengthening. They attended therapy together, unpacking the intergenerational trauma. I see you, Alex said during a session, her hand in Faith's. All of you. Yet betrayal loomed. An anonymous email arrived, containing old photos of Laura and Sarah with a note. Some secrets should stay buried. It was Eliza's handwriting on the envelope. The act reeked of desperation, an attempt to discredit Faith's narrative. Faith's articles on LGBTQ+ family histories gained traction, inspired by her story. One piece, published in a national magazine, went viral, drawing support from across the country. Strangers shared similar tales of erasure, creating a community of healing. In Seattle, Sarah became a mentor, sharing letters from Laura that painted a picture of forbidden love, stolen moments in parks, whispered promises under stars. "Your mother wanted you to know love without shame," Sarah said. As winter approached, Faith planned a road trip with Alex, tracing her mother's path from Chicago to New York. The journey symbolized rebirth, highways stretching like veins of possibility. Stops at diners, motels, and landmarks fueled their romance, laughter over milkshakes, dances in empty parking lots. But Eliza's shadow persisted. A late-night call. "I need to talk." Eliza arrived in Brooklyn disheveled, begging forgiveness. "I was wrong. Seeing you with Alex. It reminds me of what Laura and Sarah had. I envied it." The conversation stretched into dawn, tears and truths mingling. Faith didn't absolve her immediately, but a seed of understanding planted. "Healing takes time," she said. By file's end, Faith stood on her balcony, Alex's arms around her, the city alive below. The recording had shocked, but it also bridged past and present, setting the stage for deeper conflicts and ultimate redemption. The high of revelation gave way to turbulent waves as winter gripped New York. Faith's article series exploded, landing her interviews on podcasts and TV, where she spoke of legacy and love. "Erasure isn't just forgetting, it's violence," she declared on a morning show, her poise masking inner storms. Alex beamed from the audience, their relationship a beacon amid the spotlight. But fame invited backlash. Online trolls targeted Faith, echoing Eliza's old prejudices. "Freak family," one comment read. Eliza, now separated from Robert and living with a sister in Atlanta, fueled the fire indirectly. Leaked emails suggested she confided in conservative friends, who amplified the narrative. The betrayal cut deep. Faith confronted Eliza over video call. "Why can't you let go?" she demanded, screen flickering with emotion. Eliza's face crumpled. "I thought I was saving you from pain. But I see now. I was the pain." Robert, rebuilding in Chicago, reached out more, sharing forgotten stories of Laura's vibrancy, her love for jazz clubs, her activism in women's rights. "She hid so much to protect us," he said, voice thick. Amid the drama, Faith and Alex's romance deepened with romantic gestures. Picnics in snowy parks, cozy nights cooking Midwestern comfort food. Alex proposed a weekend getaway to the Catskills, where under a blanket of stars, they shared dreams. "Marry me," Alex whispered, slipping a simple ring on Faith's finger. Tears froze on cheeks as Faith said yes, a moment of pure joy. Yet conflict brewed. Sarah in Seattle revealed more. Laura had planned to leave Robert for her, but the accident intervened. Eliza knew and celebrated it privately, Sarah confessed, producing old journals. Shocked, Faith flew to Atlanta, Alex by her side. Confronting Eliza in her modest apartment, the air thick with southern humidity, Faith played the recording again. "Did you cause the accident?" Eliza denied it vehemently, but cracks showed. "I argued with her that night. She was distraught driving too fast." Sobs racked her. It wasn't murder, but negligence born of hate. The revelation shattered Faith. Back home she spiraled, doubts about her engagement, fears of inherited pain. "What if love always ends in loss?" she confided in Alex. Alex held her through nights of tears, their bond tested but unbreaking. Therapy sessions delved deeper, uncovering Faith's internalized shame. "You're not your past," the counselor said. A turning point came at a family mediation in Chicago. Robert, Eliza, Faith and Alex gathered in a neutral office, air-conditioned against the summer heat now thawing into spring. Eliza apologized fully. "I was raised in fear. But seeing your love, it's beautiful." Robert hugged Faith. "Your mom would be proud." Healing began tentatively. Faith invited Eliza to the wedding, a gesture of humanity. "Not for you but for me," to close the circle. The wedding planning infused romance. Venue scouting in upstate New York, tastings with laughter. Alex's family embraced Faith, contrasting Eliza's past rejection. But a final twist. An old friend of Laura's sent a package, more recordings, Laura singing love songs to Sarah. Listening with Alex, Faith felt her mother's presence, a blessing. As spring bloomed, Faith wrote her vows, weaving in themes of resilience. The story's drama peaked here with betrayals confronted, emotions raw. In quiet moments, Faith reflected on America's evolving landscape. Pride parades, legal protections, yet personal battles raged. Her journey embodied that. From erasure to embrace. By files close, wedding bells loomed, but Eliza's full redemption hung in balance, setting up climactic resolutions. Summer sun bathed the Hudson Valley venue in golden light as Faith and Alex's wedding approached. Guests from coast to coast converged. Sarah from Seattle, Robert from Chicago, even Eliza, tentative but present. The air buzzed with anticipation, wildflowers dotting tables, a nod to Laura's love for nature. But undercurrents swirled. Eliza arrived with a gift. Laura's old necklace, a silver locket with a photo of mother and daughter. "She'd want you to have it," Eliza said, eyes downcast. Faith accepted it warily, the metal cool against her skin. Rehearsal dinner unfolded at a rustic inn, toasts flowing like wine. Robert raised a glass. "To love that endures." Alex squeezed Faith's hand, their eyes locking in silent promise. Night brought unrest. Faith dreamed of Laura, her voice from the tape urging, "Forgive but don't forget." Waking, she found Eliza on the porch, staring at stars. "I can't undo the past," Eliza admitted. "But I see now, love isn't a sin." The conversation turned raw. Eliza revealed her own suppressed feelings. A crush on a woman in youth, buried under societal pressure. "I hated Laura for living what I couldn't." It was a confession of envy, not just hate, a humanizing twist. Faith's heart softened slightly. We all carry scars. Wedding day dawned bright, vows exchanged under an arch of roses. "I promise to honor our truths," Faith said, voice steady. Alex echoed, "And build a future free of shadows." Reception danced into night, jazz music honoring Laura. Sarah shared stories, painting her as a trailblazer. Eliza watched from the sidelines, a mix of sorrow and awe. Climax erupted when a distant relative, egged by old gossip, confronted Faith. "This is unnatural," he slurred. Eliza stepped forward, voice firm. "No. What's unnatural is hiding love. Laura taught me that, through her recording, through her daughter." The room hushed, Eliza's defense a shocking turn. She embraced Faith publicly, whispering, "I'm sorry." The act sealed redemption, betrayals mended in that American melting pot of family dysfunction and grace. Post-wedding, Faith and Alex honeymooned in California, driving the Pacific Coast Highway. Waves crashed like metaphors for turmoil overcome. "We've got our happy ending," Alex said, wind-tousling hair. But life wasn't fairy tale simple. Back in Brooklyn, Faith launched a foundation for LGBTQ+ family stories, inspired by her journey. Eliza volunteered, her transformation genuine, though trust built slowly. Robert dated again, finding peace. Sarah visited often, a surrogate aunt. Emotions ran deep. Faith grieved anew for Laura, but found solace in legacy. Romance with Alex flourished. Anniversaries celebrated with road trips, echoing their roots. A year later, Faith discovered she was pregnant via donor. News shared over a family Zoom, Eliza's tears joyful. "A new beginning," she said. The story's humanism shone. Flaws acknowledged, growth possible. Conflicts resolved not perfectly, but authentically, in the spirit of American reinvention. As autumn returned, Faith played the recording for her unborn child. Laura's voice a bridge across generations. "Love wins," it seemed to say. Years unfolded like chapters in a well-worn book. Faith and Alex's life in Brooklyn, a tapestry of love and legacy. Their daughter, named Laura in honor, grew into a spirited toddler, her laughter filling the apartment where once silence reigned. Faith's foundation thrived, hosting workshops across the U.S., from bustling L.A. to quiet southern towns, empowering families to share hidden histories. Eliza, now a changed woman, moved to New York to be closer. She babysat little Laura, reading stories of diverse heroes. "I wasted years in fear," she confided to Faith over coffee. "But you showed me grace." Robert visited often, his bond with Faith mended through shared memories. Picnics in Prospect Park became tradition, where he recounted Laura's quirks, her passion for civil rights marches, her secret poetry. Romance remained the heartbeat. Faith and Alex marked milestones with quiet escapes. Anniversaries in Napa Valley, sipping wine under vines, reaffirming vows. Through every storm, Alex would say, their connection deepened by trials. Yet echoes of drama lingered. A documentary on Faith's story aired nationally, sparking debates on erasure in American families. Trolls resurfaced, but support outweighed hate. Letters from strangers, thanking her for courage. Sarah, aging gracefully, co-authored a book with Faith, Echoes of Love, blending memoirs of forbidden romance. Launches in bookstores drew crowds, a testament to progress. Highs and lows wove through. Alex's job loss led to tense months, but they navigated with teamwork, emerging stronger. Faith's health scare, a minor surgery, reminded them of fragility, prompting more intentional living. In quieter moments, Faith revisited the recording, now digitized. Laura's words inspired articles, speeches at Pride events. "Don't let anyone dim your light," Laura urged, a mantra for their family. Climactic reflection came at a family gathering in Chicago, 10 years post-revelation. Eliza, Robert, Sarah, Alex, and little Laura converged at the old house, now a haven of inclusivity. Toasts raised to healing, betrayals forgiven. Eliza pulled Faith aside. "That tape shocked me into change. Thank you for not giving up on me." Faith hugged her. "We're all human, flawed but capable of love." The ending was humanistic. Not flawless happiness but earned peace. Faith walked the neighborhood with Alex, hand in hand, daughter skipping ahead. America's spirit, resilient, diverse, mirrored in their story. As stars emerged, Faith whispered to the night, "Thanks, Mom." The recording's legacy. Shock turned to salvation, drama to depth, romance enduring. In this vast country, from city lights to suburban streets, their tale stood as a beacon, love once erased, reclaimed with unyielding heart.